Win big against Disney. Lawsuit discovery battle. Judge orders Disney to hand over actors' pay records. Boy, we're going to learn what everybody made on these to see exactly how much they stole from the great Gina Carano. Again,
in fact, the judge kind of smacked Disney down in the aftermath of this ruling, saying that Disney has provided absolutely nothing that could justify their actions in this case, and it would move forward to trial.
If I'm not supposed to go back to storytelling in Hollywood and nobody's hiring me because I got completely shamed, then okay, I'll let it go if I have to. And as soon as I did that, a week later is when Elon Musk's attorneys, who he had hired out, emailed me and said, we're interested in looking into your case.
So back in 2019, when you worked at Disney, the Disney Corporation, you could expect a long and pretty stable career. It's a huge company, lots of things you could keep doing there at a pretty good salary. And the only cost would be you have to follow the rules. Disney at the time was getting increasingly political, and the people who worked there were expected to go along with it. So don't say anything and you'll be absolutely fine. But for some reason, she could not follow that rule.
Did you see, Stu, that Gina Carano has just won a lawsuit against Disney?
Yeah. That doesn't normally happen, does it?
No, it really
Disney has some big lawyers.
No.
Could your dream job turn into a nightmare overnight, especially if you dared to speak your mind? For Gina Carano, stepping into the magical world of Disney felt like a fairy tale come true. Back in 2019, landing a role in The Mandalorian seemed like the peak of her career. Disney, the entertainment giant, promised stability, a good paycheck, and a seemingly endless horizon of opportunities. But beneath the shimmering surface of pixie dust and happy endings, a darker expectation lurked: conformity.
The court is forcing Disney to turn over information about how the stars like Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, and others from The Mandalorian and other Disney Plus Star Wars shows and the following upcoming movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, were compensated for their roles. Oh my gosh, we're gonna get all that information.
Imagine working for Disney. For many, it's the ultimate career goal, a massive corporation brimming with projects offering security and a comfortable salary. Back then, Disney was seen as a kingdom of dreams, especially for someone like Gina Carano. She was already a star in the making, known for her fierce MMA skills and captivating screen presence. Her character, Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, quickly became a fan favorite. Strong, independent, and undeniably cool, Cara Dune was exactly the kind of character audiences were craving. Disney had seemingly struck gold, but there was an unspoken clause in this fairy tale: fall in line. The company was increasingly navigating politically charged waters, and employees were expected to go with the current. Keep quiet, play along, and your Disney dream would remain intact.
Well, here we are 8 months later, and somehow, some way, it looks like Disney doesn't want to turn over some of their internal data. Isn't that weird? Despite the fact that they were ordered to do so by a judge, Disney's been dragging their feet. Gina Carano accuses Disney of stonewalling as trial date delayed to 2026. Effectively, that Disney hasn't handed over all the discovery that they're supposed to. They're taking every route they can to get out of this. They're trying to delay, they're trying to deflect, they don't want to give up what they've been ordered to give up.
But Gina Carano wasn't one to just follow the rules. This former MMA fighter, known for her knockout punches both in and out of the ring, possessed a spirit that wouldn't be easily contained. While many in Hollywood navigated the changing tides with carefully crafted silence, Carano seemed unable to mute her own voice. She had opinions, and she wasn't afraid to share them. In a world where corporate harmony often demands individual silence, Carano's outspoken nature was about to clash head-on with the Disney machine. What exactly did she do that was so unforgivable? Well, that's where the story takes a dramatic turn and the fairy tale begins to unravel.
Now, let me just say that this is something that Disney could have done in the way that almost every single entity ever does this, which is to say, you are going to have to do it anyway. Just be polite. This is a formality, Disney, but you know what? Another win is another win.
The hammer dropped swiftly and decisively. Disney, the very company that had celebrated her as a strong female icon, fired Gina Carano. The reason? Her political opinions, as some framed it. Unlawful termination, others cried. One minute she was Cara Dune, a beloved character with a promising future, possibly even her own spin-off series. The next, she was out, banished from the Magic Kingdom. The news sent shockwaves through fandom. How could Disney discard someone so popular, so seemingly valuable? Many felt it was an overreaction, a harsh punishment for expressing views that didn't align with the company's increasingly progressive stance. Fans were outraged. The firing felt wrong. It was a public execution in the court of social media, leaving many wondering if Disney had destroyed its own creation for nothing.
Discovery motion granted. That's right, in the Gina Carano case against Disney.
Just when it seemed like Gina Carano was facing a corporate Goliath alone, an unexpected ally emerged: Elon Musk. The billionaire known for disrupting industries and challenging norms stepped into the legal ring. Musk, a vocal critic of what he sees as cancel culture, offered Carano not just support, but his formidable legal team. Suddenly, this wasn't just a dismissed actress versus a media giant anymore. It became a high-stakes David versus Goliath battle, fueled by Musk's deep pockets and Carano's unwavering resolve. For Musk, it was a stand against corporate overreach and the silencing of dissenting voices. For Carano, it was a chance to fight back, to clear her name, and to expose what she believed was unjust treatment. The game had changed, and Disney was now facing a far more formidable opponent than they likely anticipated.
So, once again, they needed to have the judge step in, and once again, Gina Carano gets a massive win against Disney.
Lawsuit filed. The battle lines were drawn. Gina Carano was suing Disney for wrongful termination and discrimination, but Disney, armed with its army of lawyers, wasn't going to make it easy. They allegedly began to stonewall, deflect, and delay. Carano's team demanded access to internal documents, specifically actor pay records, to prove her claims of pay disparity and unfair treatment. Disney resisted. For months, it was a legal tug-of-war, a war of attrition. Then, a crucial turning point, a judge intervened. In a significant victory for Carano, the court ordered Disney to hand over those actor pay records. It was a major blow to the Mouse House, a sign that their defenses were cracking, and a clear indication that this case was far from over. The discovery battle had begun, and Disney was on the defensive.
Gina Carano wins big against Disney in lawsuit discovery battle. Judge orders Disney to hand over actor pay records within 20 days.
But Disney didn't exactly rush to comply. Instead, they allegedly dragged their feet, employing every tactic in the legal playbook to delay the inevitable. 8 months passed, and still the documents were not fully released. Accusations of stonewalling flew. Carano's legal team argued that Disney was deliberately obstructing justice, trying to bury the evidence, hoping the case would simply fade away. Why the resistance? What were they so afraid of revealing? The delays themselves became suspicious, fueling speculation that Disney had something to hide, something potentially damaging lurking within those internal records. Each delay, each deflection only intensified the scrutiny and raised the stakes even higher. The longer Disney resisted, the more the world wondered, what secrets were they so desperately trying to protect?
In a major legal victory for Gina Carano and her lawsuit against Disney, the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California has granted a motion to compel Disney to turn over key documents related to how other Star Wars actors were compensated, including big names like Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, and the cast of The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Why were these pay records so crucial? Because they held the potential to expose a hidden truth. Carano's lawsuit hinged on the argument that she was unfairly targeted and discriminated against for her views, leading to wrongful termination and significant financial loss. By comparing her potential earnings to those of other Star Wars actors, especially male actors or those with different political stances, Carano's team aimed to demonstrate a pattern of discrimination. Were actors with similar roles and screen time being paid significantly more? Did political views play a role in compensation decisions? The pay records weren't just about dollars and cents, they were about uncovering potential bias, revealing corporate double standards, and exposing whether Disney truly practiced the inclusivity and fairness it publicly preached. The spreadsheets could hold the key to unlocking the entire case.
In this high-stakes battle by playing procedural games. And that seems to be what Disney has been doing, trying to delay. And I think, this is speculation on my part, but I think they're trying to delay to the point that this trial, the lawsuit, lands after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is out. They haven't managed to do that yet.
Strangely, the mainstream media seemed to be tiptoeing around the story. Major outlets offered brief, almost dismissive coverage of Carano's firing and the initial lawsuit. then quickly moved on to the latest celebrity gossip or Disney movie premiere. Why the muted response? Was it simply disinterest in a minor legal dispute? Or was there something more at play? Some whispered about Disney's immense influence in Hollywood, its vast advertising budget, and its power to shape narratives. Could it be that media outlets, consciously or unconsciously, were hesitant to bite the hand that feeds them? Whatever the reason, the lack of sustained mainstream coverage felt conspicuous, almost as if there was an unspoken agreement to downplay the story to keep the uncomfortable questions about Disney's practices out of the spotlight.
Did tweet about this. This is a small breath of fresh air in this long, arduous process. I'm grateful to the court for moving so quickly. I look forward to the details of my case becoming public and clearing my name, which will allow me to continue to do what I love without such brutal discrimination. I remain incredibly grateful for this opportunity to defend myself against this Goliath.
But the legal system wasn't as easily swayed by corporate influence. The judge, unimpressed by Disney's delaying tactics, delivered a firm rebuke. In legal terms, it was a motion to compel granted, but in plain language, it was a judicial smackdown. The judge essentially told Disney, "Enough games, hand over the documents." The ruling underscored the seriousness of Carano's claims and signaled that the court was not buying Disney's excuses. It was a clear message: accountability matters, even for the biggest corporations. The judge's firm stance amplified the pressure on Disney, signaling that their legal maneuvering was failing and that they would have to face the music, and the documents would have to see the light of day.
What an evil empire, man. Gina Carano had so much evil, vicious venom spat on her from Disney on the way out. People clearly had an agenda.
The judicial decree was not merely a procedural formality, it carried the weight of a strict, time-bound ultimatum. Disney was formally granted precisely 20 days, a finite and rapidly diminishing time frame, to produce the meticulously detailed actor pay records demanded by the court. The judicial order specified not vague summaries, incomplete data sets, or strategically redacted documents, but rather comprehensive, fully verified financial records meticulously documenting the compensation awarded to actors across a range of Star Wars projects, including The Mandalorian, Andor, and the highly anticipated Mandalorian and Grogu feature film. The clock commenced ticking immediately. The stakes of non-compliance were not merely symbolic, they carried significant legal ramifications. Failure to meet the court-imposed deadline risked triggering a cascade of punitive measures, potential financial sanctions, adverse legal inferences drawn against Disney's defense, and the very real possibility of the presiding judge explicitly instructing the jury to interpret Disney's resistance to disclosure as de facto evidence of concealed guilt. 20 days to unravel their carefully guarded financial secrets, 20 days to avert a potentially catastrophic legal outcome, 20 days to confront the imminent reckoning. The pressure on Disney reached a fever pitch as the world watched, anticipating whether the entertainment behemoth would finally yield to judicial authority and reveal the long-concealed documents, or whether they would risk even more severe consequences by continuing their strategy of resistance and obfuscation.
It says Gina Carano wins big against Disney in lawsuit discovery battle. Judge orders Disney to hand over actor pay records within 20 days.
Imagine the internal atmosphere within Disney's Burbank headquarters during those critical 20 days. Emergency boardroom sessions convened, strategic planning meetings stretched late into the night, and a palpable sense of corporate anxiety permeated the executive suites. The meticulously constructed, relentlessly promoted image of the Magic Kingdom, a realm of seamless entertainment and universally appealing narratives, was demonstrably cracking under the strain of legal pressure and mounting public scrutiny. Internal debates likely raged within Disney's upper echelons. Should they pursue a settlement, authorize a substantial financial payout to Carano, hoping to quietly resolve the litigation and minimize further reputational damage? Or should they double down on their adversarial legal strategy, continuing to fight tooth and nail even at the risk of further public exposure and potentially more damaging revelations emerging during a prolonged legal battle? The strategic crossroads presented a daunting challenge. A settlement, while potentially mitigating immediate public relations fallout, could be interpreted as a tacit admission of guilt, potentially emboldening other disgruntled employees or creative talent to initiate similar legal challenges against the studio. Conversely, a protracted and contentious legal fight carried the significant risk of dragging Disney's potentially unflattering internal practices and corporate decision-making processes into the full glare of public attention for months, if not years, to come. The internal discord and strategic uncertainty within Disney must have been profound, a veritable corporate civil war brewing beneath the carefully maintained, perpetually cheerful facade of Mickey Mouse and his animated cohorts.
Moment where you were going to come back. You're the OG.
Oh, well, I mean, gosh, there was...
No, you're the OG.
Thank you.
In terms of women's MMA, who is more OG than you? You're the original star.
Well, like, not MMA, but like Lucia Riker.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Muay Thai, yeah. And in boxing, yeah. And then there's Christy Martin and, you know, a lot of other folks.
And then there was like the Debbie Purcells and Erin.
Ann Wolf.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of like women combat sports athletes, but in terms of MMA, you're the OG.
Well, I appreciate that coming from you. That means a lot.
The legal battle between Gina Carano and Disney has transcended the confines of a single employment dispute. It has evolved into a landmark case with potentially far-reaching implications for the entire entertainment industry. This is no longer simply about one actress's dismissal. It has become a pivotal moment that could fundamentally reshape the power dynamics within Hollywood and redefine the relationship between studios and creative talent. Should Carano ultimately prevail in court, it could effectively open a legal Pandora's box, empowering a multitude of other actors, writers, directors, and creative professionals to challenge restrictive gag orders, contest perceived blacklisting practices, and demand greater transparency and accountability from major studios and production companies. Performers and creators across the entertainment spectrum might feel emboldened to assert their rights, to push back against corporate overreach, and to seek legal recourse when they perceive unjust or discriminatory treatment, knowing that a viable legal pathway exists and that substantial financial backing might be available to support such challenges. The entertainment industry, historically built upon carefully guarded financial arrangements, intricately managed public relations campaigns, and a culture of deference to studio power, is watching the Carano-Disney case with bated breath. Executives across rival studios and production houses are privately whispering, contemplating the potential ramifications. If Disney, with all its resources and legal might, cannot effectively suppress this lawsuit, could our studios be next? Could this case unleash a wave of litigation that fundamentally alters the industry's established power structures? This legal showdown is not merely about the immediate financial stakes for Disney. It represents a potentially seismic shift in the balance of power within Hollywood, a moment of reckoning that could redefine the landscape of creative freedom, corporate accountability, and the future of the entertainment industry as a whole. The countdown is underway. The 20-day ultimatum hangs heavy in the air. Will Disney ultimately comply and deliver the complete, unredacted actor pay records, finally shedding light on its internal compensation practices? Or will they persist in their strategy of resistance, risking increasingly severe legal penalties and further damaging their already tarnished public image? The global audience remains captivated, waiting with anticipation to witness whether the seemingly invincible Magic Kingdom will finally be compelled to reveal its long-held secrets, or if this high-stakes legal battle will ultimately expose a darker, more ethically compromised reality lurking beneath the carefully constructed fairy tale facade of the Disney empire. The next chapter in the Gina Carano versus Disney saga is poised to be written, and all indications point towards an explosive, potentially industry-altering denouement. To stay at the forefront of this unfolding drama and to receive immediate updates as this story progresses, ensure you are subscribed to this channel and have notifications enabled. You absolutely will not want to miss the pivotal moment when the seemingly untouchable mouse might finally find itself ensnared in its own meticulously constructed trap.